was over, didn't they? Thought the darkness had finally swallowed me whole. That I was buried 6 feet deep with no fight left. They were quick to dance on my grave, laugh with blood still wet on their hands, and spit on my name like it meant nothing. But see, that's the thing about shadows. They don't die. They just wait. They slither and coil in silence, hungry and patient, waiting for the right moment to tear through flesh and bone. They should have made sure I was gone for good. They should have burned my remains and scattered the ashes to the wind. But they were sloppy, drunk on the illusion of victory, too blinded by the light to see the darkness breathing down their necks. I've clawed my way back from the pits they threw me into, hands bloodied and broken, dragging every ounce of hatred and rage with me. They thought betrayal would break me, that pain would humble me, that loss would turn me into a ghost begging for mercy. Pathetic. They don't get it, do they? I don't beg. I take. I don't forgive. I destroy. They've awakened something they can't put back to sleep. Something cruel and relentless. Something with nothing left to lose. And now, they're gonna learn the hard way that death would have been a mercy compared to what's coming. They'll try to run, try to hide behind walls and armies, clinging to crowns and titles like they mean a damn thing. But it's useless. I've been to hell and made friends with the monsters down there. I've sharpened my hate into blades, forged my wrath into armor, and now I'm coming for everything they said I couldn't have. Their power, their thrones, their skulls split open beneath my boots. I'm back to collect what they owe, and I won't stop until the ground's soaked in their regrets. They'll beg for mercy, pray to their false gods for deliverance, but there's no salvation waiting for them. Only darkness and the sound of bones breaking. They're afraid. I can smell it in the air, see it in the way their eyes dart to shadows, hear it in their trembling voices. They know what's coming, even if they won't admit it. They know there's no escaping the reckoning, no bargaining with the devil they betrayed. They can gather their armies, sharpen their swords, whisper lies to themselves in the dark. It won't matter. 1,000 men are just 1,000 graves waiting to be filled. They'll fall one by one, screaming and bleeding for a mercy that'll never come. And I'll be there, watching the light drain from their eyes, making sure they understand the price of their cowardice. They think I care about justice, about right and wrong, about proving something to the world. They're idiots. This isn't about redemption. It's about revenge. It's about tearing down everything they built on my pain. grinding their bones into dust and watching their legacies burn. They'll call me a monster, a demon, the villain of their stories. Let them. I don't need their forgiveness. Don't need their understanding. Don't need a damn thing from them except the sound of their screams. They drew first blood. I'll make sure it's not the last. They'll learn that suffering isn't a lesson. It's a weapon. I've embraced mine. Let it twist and burn and carve me into something unstoppable. Every scar is a promise. Every wound a reminder that I don't break. Don't surrender. Don't die easy. They'll curse the day they crossed me. Curse their own names. Curse the gods who failed them. And when it's over, when the smoke clears, and the battlefield is nothing but silence and corpses, they'll understand the truth. They never stood a chance. They thought my silence was defeat, that my absence was surrender. Fools. I was just sharpening my claws, biding my time, letting the rage build until it overflowed. Now it's time to collect. They'll choke on their regrets, drown in the darkness they unleashed. And when they beg for mercy, I'll remind them of every lie, every betrayal, every knife in the back. I'll make them watch as everything they hold dear crumbles to ash. Make them feel every ounce of pain they dealt out. This isn't a battle. It's an execution. And I'm the executioner they created. They'll try to fight. Try to claw and bite and scream like rats trapped in a burning house. But it's too late. They've already lost. They just don't know it yet. I've tasted defeat, faced the abyss, embraced the darkness, and came back hungrier than ever. They can send their best, their strongest, their most loyal. It won't matter. I'll tear through them like paper, leave their champions gutted and gasping, and paint the walls with their failures. Their empire was built on borrowed time, and I'm here to collect. They can pray to their gods, light candles, whisper chants, cling to false hope with trembling hands. But their gods are silent, their prayers unanswered, their faith a joke. In the end, there's only darkness, only the sharp edge of vengeance and the taste of blood. They'll kneel before it, broken and weeping, and when they look up, all they'll see is me. I won't stop, won't rest, won't falter until every last one of them is dust beneath my boots. They'll remember my name, not as a whisper or a warning, but as a curse. They'll tell stories of the day the darkness came back for them, of the screams that echoed through empty halls, of the bodies piled high in the streets. They'll know that monsters aren't born. They're made by cowards who stab in the back and laugh while you bleed. And when it's all said and done, when the fires die down and the ashes settle, they'll finally understand the truth. They were never hunters. They were prey. So they better run, better hide, better pray to gods that don't listen. Because I'm back again. And this time, I'm not leaving until every debt is paid in blood. They'll learn soon enough that there's no hiding from what's coming. They can change their names, bury themselves behind walls of iron and stone, send their spies to sniff out shadows that don't exist. But the darkness doesn't need a door to get in. It seeps through cracks, crawls beneath skin, fills lungs with fear, until every breath is a struggle. They'll wake in the dead of night, drenched in sweat, hearts pounding, and swear they heard my footsteps in the hall. And they'll be right, because I'm not just coming for them. I'm already here, living in their nightmares, whispering promises of retribution they can't escape. They should have finished the job when they had the chance. Now it's too late. And all they've got left is to wait for the storm to break. They can call me monster, butcher, demon, whatever helps them sleep at night. But monsters don't hide behind crowns or send others to die in their place. Monsters don't preach about peace with blood on their hands. They do. Every false promise, every lie spun from golden tongues, every innocent life shattered to keep their thrones. It's all fuel for the fire that's coming to burn them alive. They thought power made them untouchable, that titles and armies and coins could shield them from the consequences of their sins. Delusional fools. Power's nothing but a leash, and I'm here to tighten it until they choke. They can scream all they want, but no one's coming to save them, just like no one came to save me. They're gonna pay for every second of agony, every drop of blood, every soul broken by their greed. I'll rip their world apart piece by piece, make them watch as everything they built on the backs of others crumbles to dust. They'll stand in the ruins of their empires, crowns cracked and bloodied in trembling hands, and finally understand the cost of betrayal. There's no mercy waiting for them, no absolution, no light at the end of this tunnel. Only darkness and the cold, unrelenting truth that they brought this upon themselves. They wanted a monster. They're about to meet one. They think they understand pain. Think they've tasted suffering just because they've spilled blood with swords they've never swung themselves. They don't know a damn thing. Pain isn't bleeding out in a gilded hall with soldiers at your side. It's clawing your way out of a grave with nails torn to the bone. It's dragging yourself through the mud, ghosts scream in your ears, while every breath burns and every step feels like dying. Pain is being betrayed by the ones you bled for, left to rot while they toast to your downfall. Pain is what they're about to feel, tenfold, 1,000-fold, until they're begging for an end that'll never come. They'll learn what it means to suffer, what it means to bleed, what it means to lose everything. And I'll make sure they never forget. They've built their kingdoms on lies and bones, thought the past would stay buried if they covered it with enough gold and silk. But bones don't stay buried forever. They claw their way to the surface, drag themselves through the dirt, rise with empty eyes and vengeance burning in hollow chests. I am those bones. I am the reckoning they laughed off, the darkness they dismissed, the nightmare they swore was dead. I've risen from the grave they threw me into, pulled myself out inch by inch, and I'm bringing the past with me. They'll drown in it, choke on every secret, every crime, every sin they thought the earth had swallowed for good. They don't realize that every move they make is another step toward their own end. They send assassins cloaked in shadows, whispers with poisoned blades, eyes watching from every corner, like I don't see them coming, like I didn't learn to spot the glint of a dagger in the dark, the scent of betrayal on the wind. Their hunters are the ones being hunted, their spies feeding me secrets, their soldiers stumbling into traps they can't escape. I've turned their own weapons against them, turned the darkness into an ally, turned every threat into a lesson learned. They can keep trying, keep sending fools to die in their name, keep playing a game that was over before it began. I'll break them all the same. They can't even comprehend what's coming. They think this is just another rebellion, another name to be erased, another ghost to be forgotten. They don't understand that this isn't about winning. It's about making sure they lose. It's about tearing down every lie, unmasking every false hero, exposing every rot that festers beneath their crowns. It's about making them see the truth, making them taste their own hypocrisy, making them understand that power built on betrayal is power doomed to fall. I'll drag them down from their towers, force them to kneel in the dirt, and make them confess every sin while the world watches. They'll see the darkness for what it really is. Not a curse, but justice. Cold and unrelenting and inevitable. They wanted to make an example out of me, hang my body from the walls, remind the world what happens to those who defy them. They thought fear would keep their throne safe, that terror would silence every whisper of revolt. But fear's a funny thing. It cuts both ways. They wanted to make an example. Fine. I'll give them one they'll never forget. I'll carve my name into their palaces with fire and steel, fill their streets with screams, and make sure every last one of them knows that defiance doesn't die. It grows teeth. It crawls back from the grave stronger, hungrier, and twice as cruel. They're the ones who should be afraid now, afraid of the shadows that whisper my name, afraid of the dark that slithers beneath their doors, afraid of the reckoning that's breathing down their necks. They've got no one to blame but themselves. Every betrayal, every lie, every innocent life shattered in the name of their greed. It's all coming back to haunt them. They unleashed this storm, fed it with their sins, laughed while the thunder rolled. Now the lightning's about to strike, and there's no shelter left, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. They'll reap what they've sown, drown in the flood they started. And when it's over, when they're buried beneath the ruins of their own arrogance, they'll know exactly who to thank. They'll tell stories of this night, of the screams that didn't stop, of the blood that soaked the streets, of the shadows that swallowed whole armies without a sound. They'll whisper my name like a curse, like a prayer, like the last breath of a dying man. And I'll be there, watching from the darkness, making sure they never forget. This isn't over until every last one of them is dust, until their empires are nothing but ruins, and their crowns nothing but shattered gold. I'm back again, and this time, I'm not leaving until I've burned their world to the ground. They'll learn soon enough that some ghosts can't be buried. They'll try to rewrite history, burn the pages, carve new lies into the stone. But the truth's already written in blood. Their blood. They can rewrite every book, seal every mouth, kill every witness. But it won't matter. The darkness doesn't forget. It creeps through cracks, lingers in whispers, haunts them in their sleep. They'll hear it in the silence between breaths, see it in the flicker of shadows that move when no one else does. They'll wake to empty halls and dead men's eyes, to the cold realization that no amount of gold or power can wash away what they did. They'll look in the mirror and see me staring back, see the vengeance that's coming for them, see the judgment that doesn't need a throne to be delivered. They'll choke on their own lies, drown in guilt and regret. And when they beg for it to end, I'll be there to remind them that some sins can't be forgiven. They think armies can save them, that steel and shields can hold back the tide. They don't understand that the war's already won, not by swords, but by whispers. I've turned their own against them, poisoned loyalties, planted seeds of doubt that bloom in the dark. They'll march to their deaths without even knowing it. Soldiers falling like autumn leaves, commanders screaming orders that no one follows. Their walls will crumble from within, iron gates thrown open by hands they trusted. And when the dust settles, when the battlefield is nothing but silence and smoke, they'll realize they were alone all along, surrounded by enemies wearing the faces of friends. They'll taste betrayal on their tongues, bitter and cold, and finally understand how it feels to be stabbed in the back by the ones you die for. They can't even begin to fathom the darkness they've unleashed. They think it's just one man, one name, one enemy to crush beneath their boots. Idiots. This isn't about one man. It's about every soul they've bled dry, every life they've ground into dust, every innocent crushed beneath the wheels of their empire. I am every scream that went unanswered, every child left to starve, every widow's tear shed for a husband who never came home. I am the wrath of the forgotten, the fury of the voiceless, the reckoning of the betrayed. They've declared war on the darkness, and the darkness has answered. They'll wish they'd stayed blind, wish they'd never opened that door, wish they'd never heard my name. But it's too late now. The shadows are alive, hungry and vengeful, and they won't stop until every crown is shattered and every throne is nothing but splinters. They think courage is marching into battle with 1,000 swords at your back. Cowards. Real courage is dragging yourself through hell alone, bleeding and broken, with no one waiting at the end but your own demons. Real courage is standing up when every bone in your body screams to stay down, spitting blood and defiance in the face of gods and monsters alike. They've never tasted that kind of pain, never walked through that kind of darkness, never been burned alive by betrayal and risen from the ashes with vengeance in their eyes. They think they've got the upper hand just because they've got the numbers, the weapons, the crowns. Pathetic. All the steel in the world won't stop the storm that's coming. I'll cut through them like a scythe through wheat, leave nothing but corpses and crows in my wake. And when the sun rises, they'll understand that true power isn't handed down by crowns, it's earned in the dark, paid for in blood and rage and scars that never heal. They've been living on borrowed time, drunk on borrowed power, playing gods while the world burned around them. They thought they'd never have to pay the price, never have to answer for the screams echoing from their dungeons. The villages razed to the ground, the families torn apart to fatten their coffers. They were wrong. I am the debt collector they didn't see coming, the shadow that slinks through locked doors, the knife that slips between ribs with a whisper. They'll pay for every child left to rot, every mother who wailed over broken bodies, every drop of innocent blood spilled to keep their thrones warm. I'll burn their palaces, topple their statues, salt the earth beneath their cities, until nothing grows but the memories of what they've done. They wanted to play gods. Fine. Let them see what it feels like to kneel. They'll claim justice, claim righteousness, claim they did what they had to for the good of the realm. Liars. Justice doesn't chain men to walls for speaking the truth. Justice doesn't slaughter innocents to make a point, doesn't drown rebels in rivers of their own blood, doesn't rule by fear and call it peace. They think the world will remember them as saviors, as heroes, as kings. But history's written in blood, and when I'm done, they'll be remembered for what they really are. Tyrants and cowards, monsters hiding behind crowns of gold. Their statues will be pulled down, their names struck from every book, their legacies reduced to ashes and spit. They'll die screaming, and the world will cheer to see them burn. They'll try to deny it, try to pretend the darkness isn't already closing in, try to convince themselves that they're still in control. But I've seen the fear in their eyes, the cracks in their voices, the way their hands shake when they think no one's looking. They're scared. They should be. They're not fighting a man. They're fighting the vengeance of a world they thought would stay quiet. They're fighting every soul they've ever condemned, every shadow they've ever tried to bury, every whisper of rebellion they thought they'd silence for good. They're fighting the darkness itself, and they've already lost. They just don't know it yet. They'll try to bargain, try to plead, try to make deals with hands that are already soaked in blood. They'll promise gold, land, power, anything to save their own worthless hides. But I don't want their gold, don't want their power, don't want anything from them but the satisfaction of watching them break. I want to see them crawl through the mud they made, hear them scream the same way I did, feel the same despair they left me to drown in. I want them to understand what it's like to lose everything, to have the world ripped out from under you, to stand alone against a darkness that doesn't end. I want them to taste hopelessness, choke on it, drown in it. And when they look up for mercy, I want them to see my face and realize there's none left. They'll die afraid, knowing their gods are false, their crowns meaningless, their power nothing but an illusion. They'll die realizing that all the swords in the world can't save them from what they've unleashed. They'll die watching their thrones burn, watching the world they've bled for turn to ashes, watching the darkness consume everything they thought was theirs. And when it's over, when the fires die and the silence settles, there will be no one left to mourn them. No song sung, no monuments raised, just the wind through the ruins, just shadows and silence, and the echoes of screams that never really stopped. They thought it was over, thought they'd won, thought the darkness was dead. They were wrong. I'm back again. And this time, I'm not leaving until there's nothing left but ashes.